Good morning. This is a continent that, for what could be considered forever, has been obsessed with the end of the world. By South American predictions, the world should have ended at least half a dozen times by now. And yet, here we are, still sipping mate, still watching the waves crash against the Beagle Channel, still wondering when the next end will come. But in this part of the world, El Fin del Mundo isn't just a doomsday prophecy. It's a place. Ushuaia, the last city before Antarctica, sitting at the edge of civilization. But long before anyone thought to call Ushuaia the end of the world, people here were already obsessed with the concept of our world ending. You may remember a particularly feverish day back in 2012, specifically the 21st of December 2012, when, according to the Mayan calendar, the world was going to come to an apocalyptic end. In Cusco, Peru, locals and tourists embraced this moment with a mix of traditional Andean rituals, psychedelic experiences, and all-night celebrations. Shamans performed cleansing ceremonies, coca leaf readings, fire rituals. Meanwhile, at hostels and bars, another breed of travelers were downing pisco sours, dancing to electronic music, and embracing the "if we're going out, let's go out with a party" mindset. And the same sort of scenes could be witnessed across the continent. In Buenos Aires, the city's nightclubs threw Mayan countdown parties, and judging by the bar takings, most of the revelers probably thought the world had ended when they felt their head the next morning. In Chile's Valle de Elqui, one of the best places in the world for stargazing, mystics, hippies, UFO enthusiasts all gathered to share their final hours together under a sea of stars. But as we now know, the world did not end. For those who follow the Mayan long count calendar, either personally or just out of interest, time is measured in worlds and baktuns. Worlds are bigger, these are the grand ages, and then the worlds are broken into 13 baktuns each. So each baktun lasting 144,000 days, so just less than 395 years. And in December 2012, December the 21st, 2012, that was such a big day because it was on that day that the 13th baktun of the fourth world came to an end. The end of a world that began in 3,114 years BCE. According to the Mayan tradition, the fourth world ended on December the 21st, 2012. But despite much consternation about the potential apocalypse and impending doom, it looks like we might have continued smoothly into the fifth world. But not all South American cultures see the end of the world as apocalyptic. Guaraní people, native to the regions in Paraguay, Brazil, and Argentina, have a much more peace-loving perspective on the end of the world. According to their tradition, the material world is an imperfect world, and true salvation lies in reaching the mythical land without evil, the Ivi Marae. Instead of the world ending, the Guaraní believe in a paradise that exists somewhere on earth, free from suffering, free from hunger, free from death. And for centuries, Guaraní prophets and shamans, who are called the Karai, have led their people on great migrations in search of the Ivi Marae. And these migrations often took them deep into forests, up mountains, across rivers, believing that if they traveled far enough, then they would reach this new world, this land of peace. Some groups are said to have ventured all the way to the Atlantic Ocean, believing that the land without this evil maybe lay on the other side of the water. And when they reached the coast and they saw no land beyond, some even threw themselves into the waves thinking that they would reach paradise through death. Over time, the arrival of European colonizers and the destruction of their forests made it harder for the people to find the Iwi Marae, and they became even more desperate as well to find it. As the land was taken, resources became scarce, disease spread, and many Guaraní saw the colonial invasion as proof that the world was getting worse, a sign that they needed to find their paradise now more than ever. And today, the Guaraní still cling to their traditions. They still speak of the land without evil, not necessarily so much as a physical place now, but as a place of spiritual purity, of harmony. Their modern struggle for land rights, environmental protection, cultural survival is, in a way, an extension of their ancient quest for Iwi Marae. Now, there are loads of end-of-the-world prophecies and predictions around these parts, but there are also many geographic ends of the world. While Ushuaia has the most famous claim to the title, it is not the only place in South America, or indeed the world, that associates itself with the end of civilization. With specific reference to heading out to Antarctica, there are 5 official Antarctica gateways, cities that serve as primary departure points for scientific expeditions, for research teams, and of course for tourists heading to Antarctica as well. Ushuaia, of course, located just 1,000 kilometers from Antarctica. Punta Arenas in Chile, a major base for flights to King George Island, which is a common landing spot for those sneaking over to Antarctica without enduring the ceremonial tub thumping of the Drake Passage. Christchurch in New Zealand, that's the primary hub for expeditions heading to the McMurdo Station, which is the largest Antarctic research base operated by the States. Hobart, Australia, which is a key departure point for Australian and French Antarctic research teams, with ships heading out to bases such as Mawson, Casey, and Dumont d'Urville. And finally, the 5th one is Cape Town in South Africa. And that's the best way to get to Queen Maud Land, which is mostly used by Norwegian, Russian, and South African Antarctic programs. So when we're talking about leaving civilization and heading over to Antarctica, there are actually 5 ends of the world. Coincidentally, the same number of worlds that the Mayans now believe in. Ooh, spooky. But back to Ushuaia for a moment. I don't think it's really the end of the world at all. I think they're cheating Chile out of a title here. Because really, surely, Isla Navarino would be a better end of the world. You could even go to these even smaller islands. They're surely the end of the world. That's the last bit of the South American continent before you commit yourself to the swirling, churning vortex of the Drake Passage. That should surely be worthy of the moniker end of the world. But wait a minute. Why isn't Isla Navarino part of Argentina anyway? It's definitely on the Argentine side. And Chile is definitely on the Pacific coast. So how did Chile come to control the entire south of South America? East to west? Well, Argentina and Chile have fought over control of the end of the world for hundreds of years. Ever since Magellan discovered the strait that's now named after him, this was destined to be a stretch of water with big implications. The initial borders between the two countries were set in an 1881 treaty, which dictates that the border between the two countries should follow the highest peak of the Andes. So on this side would be Argentina, and on this side of the Andes would be Chile. There have been a few scuffles here and there over the years, and usually that's been due to ambiguity in the wording of the original treaty. But one of these scuffles really kicked off in 1978 and almost led the two South American neighbors into declaring war against each other. And it all came down to 3 islands at the eastern end of the Beagle Channel. Whoever controlled these islands would have the benefit of extending their territorial waters and therefore gaining control of potential oil and fishing rights, not to mention, of course, control over navigation routes leading to Antarctica. Both Argentina and Chile claimed the islands for themselves, and so they submitted to an international tribunal overseen by Britain. In 1977, the tribunal ruled in favor of Chile, and so Argentina decided to head to the Falkland Islands instead. That was a joke. Argentina, led by the military government of General Jorge Videla, went full argy-bargy, and by December 1978, they were prepared for a full-scale military operation to seize the islands in the Beagle Channel. Argentine warships were there, submarines were deployed near the Beagle Channel, both sides dug out infantry trenches into the striking scenery of Patagonia. But despite there looking like there was going to be a full-on Patagonian war, no shots ended up fired, thanks to the Pope. Pope John Paul II oversaw 6 years of peace talks, which eventually confirmed Chile's sovereignty over the islands, but secured Argentina's sovereignty over strategic waters south of Tierra del Fuego. It wasn't the end of the world at all. So, let's head into our portal and collect our next 2 ports of call. And we'll start with Punta Arenas in Chile. This is our final Chilean port of call. And as a reward for your good behavior, we will not be tendering in Punta Arenas. Yeah. So this is their pier, and we will be heading out onto the pier with our regular gangway, sort of what you got used to before we got to Chile. And there's a terminal building. You can't see it in this picture. It's just off the frame. But inside there are some facilities. They've got Wi-Fi. I can't promise it's good, but they have it. Depends how many other people are using it at the time. They've got toilets, fabulous, really good toilets. My goodness. Yeah, top quality. Outside, they've got taxis and private operators hanging around. They've got a little tourist information area. There's a little cafe and a couple of souvenir-y type shops as well. Let's put it onto a map for you. So there you go. We're where the ship is, and it's roughly, call it a 20-minute walk. You get to the downtown area, the historic center. All right, let's go into our top 10 for Punta Arenas. Plaza de Armas in Punta Arenas. It's the heart of the city. Again, like some of the others we've been to, this is where locals gather, visitors snap photos, and history quietly watches over it all. Right in the center is a grand statue of Ferdinand Magellan, the man who first navigated the treacherous strait that now bears his name. And his journey linked the Atlantic and the Pacific in a shipping trade for the very first time. Legend has it that if you go and rub the foot of the indigenous figure in the statue, it brings you good luck. And so you'll know exactly which one it is, because the end of that figure's boot is very shiny compared to the rest of this slightly blackened metal. So some people prefer to kiss it. I'm not much of a foot kisser myself. But if that's your thing, then the opportunity is there for you, a nice metallic kiss. Number 2, Museo Neo Victoria is a history lover's dream. This is a hands-on climb-aboard experience with full-size replicas of legendary ships that connect in with this region. The star of the show is this one, which is a replica of the Neo Victoria. This was the only ship from Magellan's fleet to complete the first circumnavigation of the globe. Most either turned back midway because they felt it was too dangerous or got killed. Very few of them survived. Only one ship made it all the way. You can walk on its deck. You can feel the creak of the wood. Imagine the sheer madness of sailing out into the unknown which took so many lives. And the museum also has replicas of Darwin's beagle, which of course has given its name now to the waterway, the Beagle Channel. The James Caird is there as well. It's a really fun way to connect with this region's maritime history. And honestly, who doesn't love a good pirate moment? So bring your pirate costume with you, which I'm sure you packed one. I think you'll get some nice photos. Another museum for you, Museo Majorino Bogatello, is a treasure trove of Patagonian history. Blends in indigenous heritage, European exploration, the natural wonders that are underneath the ground and in the waters, and all of that in one easy-to-follow site. It was established a long, long time ago, 1893, by some Salesian missionaries, and it's a fantastic way to get that glimpse into the lives of the Selknam people and the Yaghan people. These were the two predominant tribes in this area. Tools, clothing, a bit about their traditions, wildlife as well, religious aspect of it, and of course, Antarctic exploration memorabilia. So this is a really good all-rounder, whether you're interested in anthropology, history, just like to look through the cabinets of curiosities. This one is a really fun and engaging place. This is one of the places that will accept payment in US dollars if you prefer. So that's why the price says it's either 7,000 in pesos, or if you prefer, $7 in US dollars. So it's slightly cheaper to pay in pesos if you happen to have the cash. Or you go to the cemetery. It's always free to visit a cemetery until you die, then it gets quite expensive. The cemetery of Punta Arenas is not just a resting place, though. It is a walk through the city's fascinating past. There are these towering cypress trees. There are grand mausoleums for some of the wealthier inhabitants. Intricate ironwork. It feels more like an open-air museum than a graveyard. And it is one of the real highlights of this town. Some of Patagonia's most legendary figures are buried here. Explorers, pioneers, wool barons. These are people who have shaped this region. One of the tombs, though, is particularly interesting. It's one of the most well-visited tombs, and it belongs to El Indio Desconocido, the unknown Indian. And so it's a little bit like, we certainly have it at home, the unnamed soldier. Yeah, and so it's that sort of concept. And locals leave offerings at that particular grave, believing that this unknown Indian grants wishes. It's peaceful, it's beautifully maintained, and it's full of stories. So even if cemeteries aren't really your thing, this one might surprise you. This would definitely surprise you. This is a park. It's called Parque Maria Betty. And it is one of those places that locals go to unwind, have a picnic, soak up the fresh air. It used to be, originally it was part of a grand sheep estancia, and then it's now this massive open green space, fun for families, runners like it there, and anyone just looking for a nice outdoor space, a little bit away from the town centre. They've got some trails, they've got great views over the Strait of Magellan, so it's a good spot to just slow down. There's also an old industrial brick kiln in the park, which is a reminder of the region's wool boom. And they've got these lifelike animal statues. They've got guanacos, pumas, not really quite sure what this creature is, but it's like a zoo or a safari, except the animals can't run away. So you're guaranteed to get the photo. The park is ever so slightly tired, so that's why I've put it as an orange for accessibility, because some of the paths are about as smooth as my road at home, and my council takes great pride in having the worst roads in the United Kingdom, and they're very, very proud of that track record. And then we've got the Sacred Heart Cathedral, standing tall on the Plaza de Armas, so very, very easy to find. striking wooden church, again, another one of these wooden churches, a rich history, peaceful atmosphere inside. It was built by the Salesian missionaries. They're the same people who set up the museum back in the 19th century, and it's been the spiritual heart of the city ever since. Inside, it's pretty simple, it's elegant. They've got some nice stained glass windows, which you can't see in this shot, so you have to go in and look around the windows. Wooden pews, a beautifully carved altar. Again, I chopped it, so you're going to have to go so you see the altar. But really, it's not just the architecture for this church, it's about that sense of history and community that it holds. And it's a really lovely place to just let yourself in and relax just off the plaza. Along the waterfront now, the Monumento al Piloto Pardo is a tribute to one of Chile's greatest rescue heroes, Luis Pardo Villalón. He was a naval officer, and he was the one who saved the stranded crew of Shackleton's endurance expedition in 1916. It's a very famous expedition there. This is part of the ship that went out to save them. And so it's a pretty dramatic monument. It's perched right near the waterfront, and the monument depicts Pardo himself standing strong, gazing out towards, in the direction of Antarctica, a reminder of the really daring mission in treacherous icy waters. It's a must-see for history buffs, but also anybody who just loves a good survival story. This is an amazing story. And standing there with the wind whipping your face from the Strait of Magellan, you can feel the intensity of that legendary Antarctic rescue mission. It is a true symbol of bravery and perseverance. And there are a few monuments. This one as well, the Monumento a los Tripulantes de la Goleta Ancún. They could have shrunk the title, I feel. I'm going to speak to them in a couple of days' time, see what we can do. But this one honors the brave Chilean soldiers who in 1843 sailed from Chiloé, the island where Castro is, to come and claim the Strait of Magellan for Chile. And that was really important for them because nobody owned it. So they wanted to secure it before foreign powers like Britain and France could stake a claim instead. And their journey aboard their Goleta Ancud was really treacherous. There were stormy seas, it was bitterly cold, and they were heading out into the sheer unknown. But their success led to the founding of Fuerte Bulnes, and it cemented Chile's sovereignty in Patagonia. The monument, which is, again, right on the waterfront, depicts the sailors battling against the elements and a powerful reminder of their courage. Standing there, you can feel it, especially if we get a windy day, the determination that they must have had inside. Or you could go further afield. You could take a day trip here to the Reserva Nacional Magallanes, and this is just such a perfect escape into Patagonia's wild beauty. It's just a short drive from the city, 20 minutes driving through really nice scenery as well. And when you get there, this reserve is packed with forests, rivers, trails that just wind through these stunning landscapes and offering more than a handful of really good views over the Strait of Magellan as well, because it's raised up higher. If you're going there, keep an eye out for foxes, woodpeckers, condors soaring overhead. There's also the Sendero Zapador Austral, and that is a really good hike if you're up for a bit of a challenge. You've got to be pretty fit for that one, but that's the top trail to go for. If you really love hiking and you've got good hiking boots, then maybe that's the one to head out and ask for. Otherwise, there are plenty of shorter trails on offer here for just a nice, peaceful walk with the Lengokoe trees. You could bring a little picnic, but you'd need to, of course, get your food off the ship first, not on the ship. It's a wonderful, wonderful place. There will be tour operators who will offer trips out there as well. So if you don't want to do this independently, which I understand, if you're in the middle of there and you've lost your way a little bit, it might be better to go with somebody who knows it. But the entrance to the park is 2,600 pesos. If you're going with a tour, they are obviously going to add something on top of that for them. A final idea for you. This is back in town. This is the county of Peebles. And it's the ship with 4 masts there. Historic ship, doesn't sail anymore. None of these ones seem to sail anymore. But it's got a fantastic story. It was built in Scotland in 1875, and she was once a really proud merchant ship navigating all of these different global trade routes. And eventually she found her way here to Punta Arenas, and she was repurposed as a floating warehouse. And so that was why she was here. She was here to be beached and be used as a warehouse. Now it's just abandoned, which I find romantic and tragic in the same way. I love abandoned things. I don't know if you can get in, but you can try. And the locals really like this. It is like a bit of a ship graveyard, but there's something that really does draw you towards it. So a good few, there's 4 or 5 ships all just with each other. Yeah, once a pioneer in the wind-powered trade, she is now just sitting quietly, looking over the Strait of Magellan. All right, let's take a look at the map. I have put the numbers on it, so you can see sort of how close things are to each other. Number 2 is not too far off of this map. But that's where you've got the replicas of the ships that you can go on. 5 and 10. 5 is the park with the animals that are statues, so you can take photos without being bitten. And 10 are the wrecks, the wreck ships, if you want to head out to there. Okay, let's move on to Ushuaia. Ushuaia is in Argentina, so we will have left Chile at this point and heading to a new country. As you can see, the pier here looks rather similar to the piers everywhere. The difference is that this one is a much larger pier, and so Ushuaia in high season gets quite a lot of ships. They can get 4 ships in one day here in Ushuaia, and so there may be somebody opposite us, there may not. I'll find out, and once I know, I will let you know. But in the middle of this pier, there is a walking path. So you can walk in this port. You just come out, and then you walk down the marked area down the middle. And when you get to the end, then there's the little terminal building area, and they've got some tourist information, little shop, the taxis and tour operators wait outside, and they've got these phenomenal toilets. If you've never tried an Argentinian toilet before, you really must. Put this as your top thing to do in Ushuaia. I'll show you on a map. There we go. So really quite close. We're where the ship is. For those of you really excited for the toilet, it's here. And then you're looking at less than a kilometre, 750 meters, to get from the terminal area into the downtown. I just want to stress that distance, the 750 meters, the 10-minute walk, is from the terminal, not from the ship. And so you've got a little walk along the pier first. All right, let's go through our top 10. And let's start, maybe a little surprisingly, with a beach. Because yes, it is going to be pretty cold, but this is the southernmost point in this itinerary where you are going to be able to jump into the sea. So if you want to be able to say that you swam in the Beagle Channel before zipping across to Antarctica, this is your moment. This is your beach. Bring a towel and bring some warm clothes to change into. But this is a pretty cool place to go for a brisk swim. The Museo Maritimo y del Presidio de Ushuaia is another really long title for a place, but this is where history gets a little eerie. This was Ushuaia's former prison, and it's a really infamous prison. And this museum that's now on the site tells the wild stories of convicts, explorers, and the tough souls that braved life here at the edge of the world. You can walk around, you can visit the old prison cells, you can learn about some of the legendary inmates, dive into the city's seafaring past here, the shipwrecks, the daring rescues, the Antarctic expeditions. It's a mix of maritime adventure and chilling history all under one roof. And if walls could talk, then these ones would have some incredible and terrifying stories to tell. This is a must visit in Ushuaia. Another museum is the Museo del Fin del Mundo, and this is a perfect place to dive into Ushuaia's wild history. This is a small but fascinating museum showcasing everything from indigenous Yamana culture to the daring explorers and shipwrecks that have shaped this remote region. Inside here you'll find antique maps, taxidermy of native wildlife, and pirate artifacts. Oh yes, because pirates loved these waters. One highlight as well is a beautifully preserved figurehead that was rescued from a sunken ship, again adding into that maritime mystery here. It's a great stop if you love history, but also anybody just interested in life at the edge of the world. This one's got a lot for you. The Antigua Casa Beban is Ushuaia's arguably most charming landmark. It's a beautifully preserved early 20th century mansion, and it tells the story of the city's pioneering families. It was built by the Beban family, who were wealthy Croatian immigrants, and this elegant wooden house was once the grandest home in the whole town. It was actually shipped here from Sweden. Yeah. Today it serves as a cultural center, a museum. It showcases historic photographs, exhibits on Ushuaia's early days, and particularly the lifestyle of those first settlers. It's got a really bright facade. It's a very nice building to go and take your photo in front of as well, whether you're there for the architecture or you're going in. Very interesting place to visit. Now, the Plaza Islas Malvinas is a place of remembrance honoring the Argentine soldiers who lost their lives in the 1982 Falklands War. The heart of this plaza is this memorial. It's a pretty striking monument, and it features an etched silhouette of the islands surrounded by plaques with the names of those who died. About 900 people died in that war. A constant eternal flame burns as well in tribute. It's located just along the waterfront, so it's a solemn place. It's a pretty powerful space where locals and visitors take pause to reflect. And they've got the Argentinian flag flying high there. It's a poignant reminder of history and of national pride. And if you go just beyond that, there's the Ushuaia photo sign. And this is right by the Plaza Islas Malvinas, so you can do the two together. And it's a must-have photo for that I made it to the end of the world photo snapshot. With bold letters spelling out Ushuaia set against the Beagle Channel. You've got the snow-capped mountains in the background as well. It's a great, easy keepsake from our day. But there's another one as well. It's the end of the world sign. So this one is right by the cruise ship terminal. You go out and you turn right, and I think you should get a picture with both, but this one features the Fin del Mundo, which is what they really call themselves, the end of the world. Standing beside it, we've got the Beagle Channel stretching into the distance, and you can't help but feel what it feels like to be an explorer at the edge of civilization. And without things that have happened from here, we wouldn't be able to be doing the cruise that we're doing. And then you've got the Plaza 25 de Mayo, which I think is how the locals call it too. This is a small, lively square in the heart of Ushuaia, pretty close to the end of the world sign, and it offers a mix of history, nature, local charm. It's home to several monuments inside the park, tributes to national heroes, tributes to Antarctic explorers. You'll find statues, murals, plaques. It's a really nice green park, trees, benches, peaceful atmosphere. This one's great for a break. If you don't want to walk around too much, or you've already done quite a bit of walking, you don't want to come back on board just yet, this is a really nice park to go and take a moment in. And street vendors often set up nearby as well, so you may well see some market traders with local crafts and souvenirs. This is a really good spot for people watching. Or you could go on a drive, 50 minutes, to Tierra del Fuego National Park. This is where the road and the world as we know it seems to end. You drive about 24 kilometers and you are in a stunning park, a paradise of rugged mountains, glacial rivers, dense forests, all hugging the Beagle Channel. If you do go out here, another must-do experience in this part of the area is the end of the world train. It's a steam train, and it follows the same route that was once used by Ushuaia's prisoners to gather firewood. And so this train winds through amazing scenery. You'll hear stories of the past as the train chugs along whilst you're admiring the views. And then when you get off, you've got hiking, you've got wildlife spotting, or just breathing in the fresh Patagonian air. This place is unforgettable. And most of it, for the tourist side of things, most of it has these wonderful paths, which makes it accessible for almost everyone. And then there are some off-road bits if you prefer to go a little bit more rugged. And the final in our top 10 for Ushuaia is to take a boat trip onto the Beagle Channel. This is a perfect way to experience Patagonia's wild beauty. As you cruise through these legendary waters, you're going to pass by these tiny windswept islands. You've then got these towering mountains. You've got little remote lighthouses, including the iconic Les Éclairs lighthouse, which people often think is the end of the world lighthouse. It's not. They are different lighthouses, but it's one that people love to take photos of. And keep your eyes peeled for sea lions, because sea lions lounge on the rocky outcrops. Cormorants are diving in for fish. You might even see the Magellanic penguins. They'll be waddling around in this area. They love the crisp, cold air, the open sea, the vast sense of remoteness. This is unshakable in terms of the spirit of adventure. It's raw, it's wild, and it's beautiful. Let's put them all on a map. So number 2, that's the prison. Number 2, my top pick. And the photo signs along the waterfront also. Always nice to get one of those photos. Of course, we are going to be sailing in the Beagle Channel on the ship ourselves. And so all of us will sail the Beagle Channel. But if you do want to see it in greater detail, then going out on one of those smaller boats is a really nice idea. Alrighty. The end of the world sounds so dramatic. It sounds so final. But South America is a continent of repeating rhythms and cycles that dance together. And I rather think that's why this continent does okay with bearing the pressure of the ever-present threat of the end of the world. Because the end is usually as much a new beginning as anything else. And we're reaching the end of our West Coast adventure now. But boy, oh boy, are we about to start something exciting. This is my last port presentation for 9 days. You know why? Because it's time for us to go beyond the end of the world, and we will be welcoming on board our Antarctica expedition team for a true bucket list adventure. Enjoy.